This is ELH4X4 doing stuff. Today we're working on a 2012 Mustang front brakes, doing pads. And this should cover 2004 to 2014 or 2005 to 2014. So come on along. All right, a couple things we got to do first. We'll find a good jack point, and then we'll pop the hood and look at the master cylinder and see how much fluid we have in there. So stand by. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Let's wipe it down since it's a little bit crusty and we don't want any debris, dirt, and whatnot getting inside the brake fluid. I can't read that. I don't see a min-max line on it. It is kind of high. So when we push the piston back into the caliper, we got to pay attention to how much fluid is being forced back in. So if we have to, we'll have to take some out. All right, let's find a good jack point. All right, let's see if we can get you in there. Right here's an arrow. So that should be pointing to a good place to jack the vehicle up, and then we'll throw a jack stand underneath. One of the, I don't know what you call it, the frame up front, subframe. All right, we got a nice solid jack point. Put the jack stand underneath the subframe. Now, I always use a breaker bar to break the lug nuts loose before I hit it with the impact. And what I did find is that they were a little bit loose. One was kind of finger tight, so we'll do a solid for the customer, and when it comes time to put the stuff back on, we'll torque it down to the factory recommendation. All right, so for the headphone users, we're getting loud. All right, let's see what we got. One of the chief complaints was it was squeaking, but the brake pads look pretty good. On the outside, I don't know what it looks like on the inside, so we'll take this caliper off and see what we're working with. All right, for this application, it takes a 12 millimeter. We got two mounting bolts here for the caliper to the support bracket, 12 millimeter. All right, you got the idea. All right, we give it a little pull, release some of the pressure inside of the caliper. That way we can slide it off and see what we got going on here. That looks good. A little bit of buildup. Do a little comparison here with the new brake pads. The brake pedal didn't feel low, so just the chief complaint was noisy brakes. I asked the customer if there was any irregularities in the brake performances, like a pulsating, which would be due to a warped rotor. If there was brake fade, excessive force to stop, and none of that. It was just noisy. So, I mean, not really much of a difference. These things still have a couple years, so what I'll do is I'll just hold on to these, clean everything back up, and yeah, the customer isn't going to need brakes for a couple of months. All right, we'll just clean up all this stuff and see what we got going on the other side as well. We're just going to change them. It's another thing we check for also is the pins. They move freely. Doesn't look like any excessive wear, any binding. We'll hit them up with some grease. Alright, I'm gonna have to get in your way, so instead of looking at my big old head, I'm just going to get in there, so give me a second. Alright, we'll clean down this mounting bracket. Oh man, make sure you don't get that stuff on the paint. This isn't bad. A little bit of brake dust. All right, we'll get the, these are a phenolic piston. The boots don't look ripped or anything like that. They look pretty good. So we'll get the pistons pushed back into the caliper. Keep an eye on the master cylinder to make sure it's not overflowing. And when you push these things back in, you got to look at the dust boot. You'll see in some of the other videos that I had, like in the F-150, the dust boot was in between the piston and the brake pad, and it ended up compromising the seal or the dust boot, and we had to replace those. So make sure you fold them back in all nice and neat so it doesn't get pinched in between the brake pad and the pistons. All right. going to go look at the master cylinder and see what's going on up there. I'll bring you along for the ride. All right. So the level's up here. There it says max up here. All right. So we'll put the pads on and then pump up the pedal and seat the pads and do the other side. All right, these brake pads are factory, they're Motorcraft OE brake pads, and they come with little clips, so let's use them. Refer to the directions on how to assemble it. And it's kind of a no-brainer. I'll be right back instead of boring you with this stuff. Alright, so I got them sorted, and you can see that they're not the same. You have a outside and a inside. Okay, so make sure that you get those sorted right, and then we'll get them installed. Alright. Let's get these pads put in. Make sure they move freely. I know on some of them they don't, and you run into a lot of problems with that. And I think I've explained that on some of the other videos. For whatever manufacturing process happens, or the coating they put on it, it makes it really difficult, or binds the pad inside the grooves, so it takes excessive force to make them move, where they get in there and they get stuck. So if that's the case, just take a little bit, file it, sand it down. If you got a grinder, just take off a little bit of surface on there and check it to make sure it moves freely. That seems okay. Alright. I don't want to block you, so let me get that done. Alright. That's on. Let's see if we can't put the caliper back on. Kind of get these things lined up, because these flats fit into the caliper. Squeeze everything together. That was too easy. All right. Is that it? Yeah, that seems like it's it. I know a lot of channels have been out there talking about positivity and whatnot, so there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a believer in Christ, so my positivity comes through that, knowing that I have a creator that loved me enough that he sent his only son to take my punishment and place it upon himself. That's where my positivity comes from. And if we believe in the one that has sent him and confess with our mouths that Jesus is Lord, we will be saved. That's where true joy comes from. So, stay healthy. Believe of half of what you see and nothing of what you hear when it comes to the news. All right, we ain't got to torque them down too much, right? Just enough to snug them down. I'll go in and pump the brakes a little bit. Keep an eye on the piston. Oh yeah. All right, let's do the other side. All right, so it says 100 foot-pounds, so let's do that. We'll snug them down gradually, bring it down even. Yep. Alright, so we're going to take care of this. It wasn't part of the job, but why not just go above and beyond once in a while? It's only going to take a couple seconds. Clean that up. I'm going to use a mixture of water and baking soda. I don't know, I guess the scientific term is sodium bicarbonate. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I just heard somebody say that once. But we're going to button up the other side. I got the driver's side done. We're going to button that up and then we'll address the battery. Alright, so the scientific name for baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. I don't know what the scientific name for baking soda and water is. Some people say alkaline water. But regardless, I got a pitcher of water with baking soda in it, and let's see if we can't get to. Look at that, it just dissolves it right up. Can you see that action? Just pour it on some of the areas where there was corrosion. Just rinse it all down. guess that's what copper looks like when it corrodes. Statue of Liberty. Alright, I'm going to go mix up some more. Alright, back with some more. That's all. Rinse and repeat. Alright, so we finished up front brakes on the 2012 Mustang and did a little bit of battery maintenance. Alright, it's getting colder out. It's November, so keep an eye on your battery. With the colder weather coming out, batteries are going to start dropping out and losing charge and whatnot, so check the connections. Something as simple as just mixing water with baking soda takes care of a lot of corrosion, neutralizes the acid, saves some of the battery pans for older vehicles. And yeah, that's about it. It's been a while since I posted a video. This one was a pretty easy job to get back into it. I have some side projects. Actually, a 1976 Vet, C3 Vet. My personal vehicle I just picked up not too long ago, and I just haven't really feel motivated to do videos on it. But who knows? Some of the videos that are out there, they do the edit magic, and like, oh, we're going to replace this, and poof, it's replaced. I like to show you step by step. Just not really motivated to do that with the car that I have. So who knows? Maybe in the future. It is a frame off. I pulled the body off the frame. Anyway, we're talking Chevy when we're working on a Ford, right? So 2012 Mustang, front brakes. I think it's 2005, 2004, up to 2014, all the same brake pad. And really all you need is a 12 millimeter to get the caliper off of the mounting bracket, and some brake clean, and a C-clamp. I purchased that the tool that I used off of Amazon for a dual piston setup. When I was working on the Vet, I needed it, and it worked for this one. So awesome. Appreciate you guys subscribing. Welcome to the new subscribers, and leave a comment, leave a like, and appreciate you guys. Have a nice Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you later.